Welcome to Velocity, the Vista Chamber podcast. I'm your host, Chamber CEO Rachel Bell, and it's my privilege to interview the movers, shakers, and change makers impacting the Vista community and beyond. You all are in for a treat today because my guest is Rudy Moreno. Rudy Moreno is a decorated veteran who served in the United States Air Force for 20 years as a Red Horse combat engineer. He also served in multiple joint service operations and combat tours during his time in the military. Rudy was a member of the All-Air Force boxing team as a light middleweight champion, and he later became an All-Air Force boxing coach. He's been coaching boxing for the past 18 years, holding a USA Boxing Level 3 coaching certification, which allows him to coach a USA boxing team at the international level of competition. Rudy has received numerous awards and decorations for his service, including the Meritorious Service Medal, Air Force Commendation Medal, Army Commendation Medal, Navy Commendation Medal, Air Force Achievement Medal, and the Navy Presidential Unit Citation. However, he's most proud of being recognized by the mayor and city council proclaiming January 11th, 2013 as Master Sergeant Rudy Moreno Day in the city of Vista. That's pretty cool. After retiring from the military in 2013, Rudy began working for the Public Works Department on Camp Pendleton as an engineering technician. He has 30 years of total federal service. And Rudy also volunteers his off-duty time to his community, where he serves as chairman of the Vista Parks and Rec Commission for the past 3 years. And currently he's the president of a local nonprofit youth program, Hero Inc., which stands for Helping Everyone Reach Opportunity. And we're going to hear a lot more about that in just a moment. Rudy's dedication to helping others and his commitment to the community have not gone unnoticed. He was recognized this year as Veteran of the Year at the 2023 Heroes of Vista Gala for his outstanding community service. Rudy's story is a testament to the power of boxing as a way to overcome adversity and as a reminder that with determination and resilience, anyone can overcome challenges in life. I'm so happy to have you. Welcome, Rudy.
Thank you, Rachel. It's an honor to be here, and thank you for having me today.
Yeah, it's so exciting to sit down with you and to learn more about your story. Like I said in the bio, I've heard about Hero Inc. and I've heard about you through, for a while. But really, it kind of solidified for me your impact when your name came up as a nominee for Veteran of the Year through the Chamber's Heroes of Vista program and our awards gala. And the more I heard, we make a video for that, which we'll link to that in the show notes. And just the video, watching that, it just made me want to learn more and more. And I also saw this short film about you from the Strawberry Festival last year. So lots of cool things. I have lots to talk about. So, But first I want to go back in time. And I want to ask you, where did you grow up?
I grew up here in Vista.
You did? Vista boy.
Born and raised, Tri-City Hospital, 1972.
Okay. That's great. Yep. And so you grew up in Vista?
I grew up in Vista, District 1.
Okay. And you went to Vista High?
I went to Vista, yes.
Okay. All right. Great.
Yes.
And how did you come to join the military?
Long story short, I guess you could say, as a troubled teen myself, I had zero guidance. I was taken to the streets at that time as a teen, but it was kind of like I was living a double life because even though I was a troubled teen, in the streets, I still had enough sense to go to school and finish my education. So after graduating in a class of 91, I had taken a summer vacation. I went back to Texas. My original family, my parents' side of the family, my mom's side of the family, they're originally from Texas.
Okay.
So I went there on a summer vacation. Spent a lot of time with my cousins, and all we did was fish and barbecue. So I had one specific cousin that would just always talk about, I'm joining the Air Force. We're about a year apart. And he just kept talking about, I'm going to join the Air Force. And it just kind of stuck with me. So after our summer vacation, I came back home to Vista. And my grandmother, who was like my mom, I was raised by my grandmother. She's like, okay, you're done with school. What are you going to do with yourself? And I just told her, I'm going to join the Air Force. That was the first thing that popped into my mind. I'm going to join the Air Force. And she just kind of looked at me, really strange, really odd. And I said, yeah, I'm going to go talk to a recruiter and I'm going to join the Air Force. So the story with the recruiter is he looked at me And he says, you know, unfortunately, I can't really do anything for you until after you take the ASVAB test. So that was the key. I took the ASVAB test. He comes back and he's like, what do you want to do? So I had, you know, high enough scores to pretty much do whatever it was I wanted. And I had no idea because, like I said, I mean, yes, I went to school, but at the same time, I was kind of, you know, that street person. And I just wanted to get out of Vista, to be honest. Growing up in the 80s was really tough. You know, there was a lot of gangs, a lot of drugs. And, you know, I got mixed up into it. And I just wanted to get away. My best friend had just got killed the year previously. And I just knew that if I didn't go the military route, that I was going to get killed myself or I was going to go to prison for a long time.
Wow. You know, it's so interesting. There's a lot of what you said really sticks with me. Just the choices that we make. And even though you were caught up in a life that, like you say, on the streets and with drugs and gang activity and things like that, you were a smart kid. You knew going to school was something you needed to do. And you, with your cousin, what's interesting to me is how such a small interaction of like hanging out with your cousin for the summer changed the entire trajectory of your life, sure, right? So that cousin, are you still close with that cousin?
We still talk. Yeah.
It's amazing the people that in your life who have an influence on you that you don't even realize are sending you on a totally different path. That's such a cool thing to think about and the impact that did your cousin join the Air Force too?
He did not.
I had a feeling you were going to say that. That's so funny. That's hilarious. So,
yeah. You know, he got to, I guess, live vicariously through me.
Yeah. So interesting. Well, good for you for making choices and for really choosing your own path and making your own future. So tell me when, so you joined the Air Force, you served for 20 years.
I served for 20 years.
Retired from the Air Force.
Retired from the Air Force,
yeah,
yes.
That's amazing. And so after the Air Force, what was that transition like leaving the military life? What was that like?
Well, it was tough. It was very hard for me. You know, because you live a certain way for 20 plus, 20 years. And once I retired, I only had actually 2-week transition from retirement to starting a new job on Camp Pendleton.
Okay.
So within those 2 weeks, going back and to be a civilian was different. It was very different for me. And, but, I still had the same mentality as, I'm going to do the best job that I can, the only way I can, Yeah. So it was tough.
Can I ask you, I didn't originally plan to ask you this, but I'm curious about the process, working at the chamber. One of the things we like to do is help people in career transition and especially military. So what was it like? Were there resources available to you to help you find the job on Camp Pendleton? Did you do that yourself? Did someone help you? Was there a guidance for that? What did that look like?
So here's the story. Prior to retiring, I think it was about 3 or 4 months, I just started looking on usajobs.gov.
Okay.
And I actually had applied for a job prior to retirement, like in December. Well, I got a phone call in January. I was actually, and this was funny because I was actually at the border of Tijuana border coming back into San Diego. Literally in the line, there was probably 5 cars in front of me before I was going to cross the border. And I get a phone call, and he was the deputy director of facility support contracts where I had applied. And he tells me, is this Rudy Moreno? I'm Lieutenant Commander, I forgot his name. It's been a while. He's no longer with us. But it was a lieutenant commander who called me, and he's like, are you busy? Can we do a phone interview? And I was like, I didn't tell him I was at the border getting ready to cross. But we started doing this phone interview. And he goes, you know what? He goes, you're hired, man. I want you.
That's great.
So crossing the border, I'm getting hired for this new job prior to my retirement.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So you really took initiative, just started looking, knowing that you were going to transition out And then you had the 2 weeks, you transitioned to your new career, and you're still working there?
And I'm still working there.
And you've been there 10 years?
10 years.
10 years. Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So let's talk about boxing. Okay. So I know from just a little bit I've learned about you, and there was a short film about you in the Strawberry Festival Film Contest last year. I've learned a little bit about you through the Heroes process and things like that. So I know that boxing's been important to you for a long time. So tell me, how did you first get into boxing? And let's start there.
Well, boxing, I would say boxing is in my blood. I have one of my older uncles, Peter Moreno. He's been coaching kids here in Vista, believe it or not, for over 40 years.
Oh, wow.
40 years. He was first generation. And then I had a younger uncle who my Uncle Peter used to coach, and he was boxing like in the 80s. So I guess you could say I'm second generation. So I pretty much grew up in a gym. I was always in the gym, watching them. But at that time, my grandmother, she didn't want me to box. She was like, no, you're not competing, this and that. So I would just train, the boxing did help me, on the streets. So luckily for me, I was able to defend myself. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get to compete, but once I joined the military, that's when I really learned how to box, and that's when I began competing. I had the opportunity to be stationed in Panama, Central America. And a coworker of mine knew, I was a boxing fan. I was interested. And he's like, well, you know what? There's a gym downtown that I'm familiar with. And it was supposedly one of the gyms that Roberto Duran, who was a boxing champion, world champion, very famous. And he's like, I'll take you to this gym if you're interested, we'll go. And I went. I fell in love with the place and the people there. And it's pretty much where I started my career of competitive boxing.
Did it feel like natural for you? Did it feel like you were supposed to do this?
It did. It felt very natural for me. I actually started competing with the Panamanian amateur circuit down there. I was the only American military at that. And I became very successful, and a lot of people were hearing about me. A lot of people were hearing about me on base. We had Army bases there, we had Navy bases there, and of course the Air Force base there. So I became a little popular at that time. And it was interesting because another airman, another Air Force individual approached me, and he's like, hey, I heard you're a boxer. And I said, yeah, I like to box. And he's like, well, it just so happens my brother is an assistant coach on the All Air Force boxing team. At that time, I really didn't know the Air Force had a boxing team.
I didn't know that until I heard about you.
Yeah. I knew that there was Army and Marines. I would see them boxing, but Air Force, I never thought that they had a boxing team. So his brother did contact me, and he's like, hey, if you're interested, we're going to be having this Air Force boxing trials, and we'll send for you. And I was like, yeah, sure. So that was in 1999, and they sent for me, and I went, and I ended up winning my division, light middleweight. Yeah, 156 pounds division. Yeah.
What did it feel like to win in that moment?
It was pretty awesome. The camp where the Air Force boxing team would train was in San Antonio. So being that I had family in Texas, I did have some family there in local that came to see me. And that felt good. It felt good to be able to win, in front of my family. And the individual that I boxed against, he was a hometown boy. Uh-oh. So, he had the whole crowd against him. And it just seemed like the more that they cheered him on, the more energy that it gave me, to go out there and do my best. And so I could say that his hometown crowd helped me become the champion.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did you transition then from boxing to coaching?
So after 1999, I was deploying a lot. So in my career field, I had to go to the desert a lot of times. I deployed 13 times.
Wow.
Yeah, 13 times to the desert. So I think I spent about 5 years total in the Middle East.
Wow.
So the transition came pretty much after the whole 9/11 happened. This was in about 2004, 2005 timeframe. That same coach that brought me on as a boxer, he ended up becoming the head coach. Well, at that time in 2005, he was going to get ready to retire soon. And for some reason, he remembered me. And he reached out to me and he's like, "Hey, Rudy, you know, I'm gonna get ready to retire here, and I need somebody to replace me." And at that time, I was like, "Well, you know, I boxed, but I had no idea of coaching, you know, a whole team of boxers at that." And he goes, "Don't worry about it. I'll mentor you. You know, you'll be fine. You'll be fine." And so in 2005. That's when I started my career as a boxing coach.
Wow, that's so cool. You know, I've interviewed quite a few people on the show, and I think there's this thread that kind of connects everybody. And there's a moment where someone else says, "I see you in this way, and you can do this thing." And the person says, I don't know. I've never really done that thing before. And then the mentor or the other person says, "No, you got this. I believe in you. You got this." And it's so interesting because I think that's something that really connects everybody. No matter what your success is, no matter what your achievements are, we never do it alone. Always someone says, "I believe in you. I see this in you." You know, you can want it for yourself. You can work hard for yourself, but oftentimes it's someone else pushing you that really helps you take the next step. So I think that's really cool. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was up for the challenge as well. You know, I was like, "Sure, let's do this. Yeah, bring it on."
Let's
you know,
do this.
And he was a great coach.
Mm-hmm.
He was actually alternate on the 1996 Olympic team.
Whoa.
As a boxer himself. So our head coach at that time was Coach Alanis. He was actually an Olympic coach. So he actually got to work the corner when Oscar De La Hoya won the gold medal in 1992.
Whoa.
So I was being mentored by some good people.
That's legit.
That's legit.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Know, so I definitely, you know, I got to learn from the best.
Wow. Okay. So how has boxing changed your life?
Wow. Okay.
It's a big one.
Yeah. I wouldn't even say that it changed my life. I would say boxing saved my life.
Okay.
Okay. Going back to the whole retirement, 2013, even though I was working, I started going into that depression, you know. My body was just not the same, you know, because you follow a certain routine for so long. And when you don't do that certain routine anymore, then, you know, stuff starts falling apart. And I felt, you know, physically and mentally that I was falling apart. It just so happens at that same time as when I met my wife, Kenya.
Oh.
Yeah. Believe it or not, we've known each other since kindergarten.
I love that.
We've known each other since kindergarten. So during that time, you know, when I was kind of going through some things, physically and mentally, I met Kenya, and, you know, she was there for me. She was there for me and helped me. And I mean, our connection was so good that we just ended up getting married that year.
Aww.
That same year we got married. Okay, so now back into the boxing. So what happened there was, you know, even though I was with Kenya, we were married, I spiraled. I spiraled down into, you know, the whole PTSD. My body started failing me. I started having a lot of pain. I was having a lot of back pain. And I was going to the doctors, back and forth, doctors, physical therapy. And come to find out, I was needing back surgery. So I had my back surgery the first time. And after that surgery, you know, I just was just laying around. I didn't want to do anything. So my wife told me, you know, "Hey, you know, you can't just be laying around, you know, just woe is me. You need to do something with yourself. You know, I don't like to see you like this." She goes, "I know you love boxing. So why don't we, you know, set up the garage and you can have a little boxing gym in the garage and maybe, you know, start training some kids or something." So, that kind of sparked, the little spark in me. And I was like, you know what? That sounds like a good idea.
At J&R Auto Body and Paint, you don't have to worry about a thing. From minor dents and dings to major collision repair, we offer a worry, hassle-free experience with superior customer service. Our auto claim advisors work directly with your insurance company, so you don't have to deal with the headaches. Our certified technicians work on all makes and models to get your repair done right the first time. We stand behind our work with a lifetime warranty. Locally and family-owned, J&R Auto Body is here to serve the community. Call us today at 760-724-4923.
Hi, it's Carrie from Solatube Home in Vista, California. If you're looking for ways to brighten and cool your home, we are your natural light and fresh air experts. We offer a selection of daylighting and ventilation products to help make your home beautiful and comfortable. And the best part of all is you won't be using any electricity to brighten up. We can bring beautiful, natural light into those dark spaces in your home, transforming them into beautifully lit spaces in less than 2 hours. No mess, no fuss, just amazing natural light to make your home look and feel great. If you're looking to cool off your home, we have a complete line of ventilation products to keep your home and garage cool. We want to make cooling and refreshing your home easier and more energy efficient than ever with our line of whole house fans, solar attic fans, and garage fans. Our certified installers carry the full line of Solatube daylighting and ventilation products on their vans at all times. Installation can usually be done in about 2 hours. No messy drywall, paint repair, structural changes, or re-roofing needed. It's pretty much the easiest home improvement project you'll ever take on. At Solatube Home, we offer no obligation appointments throughout Southern California. Visit our website at solatubehome.com or stop by our showroom conveniently located in Vista at 2210 Oak Ridge Drive, or give us a call, 619-375-1629. We look forward to brightening your day.
For more than 60 years, Tri-City Medical Center has been committed to advancing the health and wellness of the community we serve. With leading-edge emergency care, including top-rated heart and stroke programs, advanced orthopedics, primary care, obstetrics, and neonatal care, Tri-City stands at the ready when you need us most. Learn more at tricitymed.org.
So we set up our garage into a little mini boxing gym, and I just started inviting some kids over, some local kids, some family kids, our cousins' kids, stuff like that. So I started off with like 5 kids, and one of them was actually a high school kid who was doing MMA, and he wanted me to be his boxing coach. And so I started training these kids, and the MMA guy, he was competing, and I started like coaching him. I was in his corner helping him, and he ended up going on to become like a 8-time state MMA champion.
Wow. And
then later on turned pro. So during that time frame when I was coaching him and the other little kids, adults started approaching me, and they're like, hey, can we come to your house and work out? Yeah, sure, why not? So I started coaching some adults. My wife had approached me, and she's like, hey, I have this nephew who's needs to lose weight. He was 500 pounds. Wow. 500 pounds. He was a California burrito short of 500 pounds, but yeah, he was 500. He was big. And she's like, do you think, we can kind of modify some things and help him? Because if he doesn't start doing something, change his lifestyle, he's going to die. So when I got to meet him, and I was like, wow, he was just purple, the circulation, he didn't look good at all. So for about a year, we just worked with him. I focused a lot of my attention on him. And believe it or not, that year, he lost over 200 pounds. Wow. He lost over 200 pounds, and it was amazing. And that's when I decided, to tell him why. I was like, man, you know what? We got something here. We could do the boxing, we could do the fitness, we could work with kids, we can work with adults. And that's where Hero came about.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So Hero was born right in your garage.
Right in my garage.
Born from your experience and from your dedication, just helping people and helping yourself.
Yeah. And so Hero, which is an acronym itself, helping everyone reach opportunity, it stuck to me because I could see, how we were able to help people. After working with my wife's cousin, or nephew, I'm sorry, with the nephew, So how I came up with Hero was there was a Chief Master Sergeant in the Air Force that would always just call everybody Hero. You know, he just, hey, Hero, hey, Hero, hey, Hero. And that name just stuck with me for some reason, you know, and I don't even know if he had an acronym for it. But yeah, that name Hero just stuck with me for some reason. And I said, you know what? I want to start a nonprofit and I want to call it Hero. And this is what it's going to be.
And so how long has Hero been operating?
Okay, so it was first established 501c3 in 2018.
Okay, so about 5 years.
5 years.
And you're still in your garage?
No.
Okay. No.
Okay. So
where are you now?
Okay. So in 2018, at that time, you know, I was telling you that my uncle was coaching.
Oh, right.
So he had a facility off of North Santa Fe.
Okay.
And he came to me and he's like, hey, you know, I'm going to be retiring myself. I've been doing this for over 40 years. I'm tired. Why don't you bring your program over here and just run with it? I said, okay, sure. You know, because I had like 20 people in my garage, outside my garage, you know, all in front of our house. And so we just moved shop, you know, we just moved shop to that new facility on North Santa Fe, and it just took off from there.
That's great. So how many students do you have now coming to you?
So from where we were at, I had over 80 members.
Whoa.
Yeah. Unfortunately, after COVID, the owner of the property sold the property and we had nowhere to go. So at that time, I had five dedicated boxers who were competing. So I just told my wife, well, in the meantime, we'll go back to our garage. I'll just take my 5 boxers, you know, that I've been working with that compete, and we'll just train out of my garage. So that worked for about 3 or 4 months. And then me and my wife finally decided, you know what, this is not going to work anymore. We're just outgrowing the space in here and we need to do something. Well, of course, you know, rent, lease, everything is so expensive here in Vista. And as a nonprofit, you know, we're solely funded on donations and sponsors. We just couldn't afford anything. So we got a good sized property in our backyard. And I'm like, well, why don't we just build something in the backyard? And yeah, that's what we ended up doing. We ended up building a nice little, you know, temporary gymnasium, you know, 1,000 square feet. Okay. And with everything that we need.
That's fantastic. So what's next for Hero then? Okay,
so what we're planning and hoping is, you know, to move out of our facility and to go into a new facility. So with that, there's a joint item that I've been working with the city council. And I just found out that on May 23rd, that the city council member Joe Green and Dan O'Donnell will be putting a special item on their agenda for a special funding request. And with this funding request would actually allow us to move into the Rain Tree Park facility, which the Boys and Girls Club used to hold there. So with the support of the community on May 23rd, if we can go out there and show your support for Hero, hopefully this thing does go through.
That's awesome. So exciting. It must feel so good to have the support of the city council and to, you know, move forward with a facility right there in Rain Tree Park. That's a perfect location.
And it's very perfect because me and my wife, we grew up in that area. That's our area. That's our home. Well, Townside. Back then it was West Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, East Los Angeles. But now it's Townside. And yeah, I mean, that's where we grew up. That's our roots right there at Rain Tree Park.
Perfect. A full circle moment.
Full circle.
Tell me about the kids that work out at your gym or that you work with. Tell me about what they're all about.
Okay. So one of my kids is actually from the Boys and Girls Club. One of Matt's. She's a female. Her name is Yelena Torres. Special girl. She is actually right now ranked number 1 in the nation. She's a 3-time national champion. Oh. Yeah, she is fantastic. And as a matter of fact, she was a student of the year for the Boys and Girls Club last year. So that's one of them. My next all-star, I guess you could say, is happens to be my grandson, 10 years old, 5th grader. He's currently ranked number 3 in the nation. at 10 years old. The other three who compete for me, they started back with my uncle. So I continue training them from my uncle, and they're state champions, regional champions, and they're great kids to work with. So those are my 5 that compete. So I do have another 5 who were kind of special needs, disadvantaged youth. They all have a story. Everybody has a story. We all have a story. And I took them on, as a challenge, to help them, to build confidence in them, to build their self-esteem, to put structure, give them discipline. And, they've been with me for, 5-6 months, and the change in them is dramatic. It's the changes to see. And that's what gives me, how can I say it? It gives me, I don't even know what the
Pride?
word. Pride, it gives me pride to see, them blossom.
Like fulfilling.
It's very, very fulfilling.
Yeah.
It's very, very fulfilling.
I can see that right on your face, that it's just so rewarding and personally fulfilling for you. That's awesome. So what do you think boxing changes your body or your mind more? It
does both. They're both 1 and 2, the 1-2 punch. You have the physical health, and you have the mental health. Physical health, it conditions your body. You have speed, you have agility, your balance. Everything all improves in boxing, because those are the fundamentals that you need. Mentally, you're just releasing stress. What happens if we hold in stress? We get sick. So by boxing, you relieve that stress. Anything that's going on the outside, when you're boxing, it just, you exhale it all out.
So how can the community support Hero Inc.? How can the community support the work that you're doing?
Okay, so as I mentioned before, we're solely funded with donations and sponsors.
You don't charge the students?
I don't. I've been volunteering my free time since 2016.
Okay.
Right now, the only thing that I do ask the students is donations to help pay for the facility that we're working in. So the facility and the equipment that we work, they give me a $50 donation.
Okay.
But as far as my time, I charge nothing. I haven't charged nothing since 2016. I've been working for free, just volunteering my time for the kids.
Wow. So the community can help with donations. Any business out there that want to sponsor us, just reach out to me on our website, ophero.org, or give me a call. So are the students that you bring in, is the goal for them to compete, or is the goal for them to learn the skills? Like, does everybody move into the competitive area, or is it enough to do the conditioning and to train your body and your mind? Do you need to compete?
No, you do not need to compete. Okay, so with Hero, what we're trying to do, our mission in Hero is instill discipline, give the kids structure, and, just instill the positive reinforcement. That's what kids need nowadays. That's something that schools cannot offer. Schools don't give you structure. They don't give you discipline and the positive reinforcement. You got so many kids there that it's hard, It's very, very hard. So with us, what's first with them is to focus on their physical and their mental. From there, if they choose, to want to compete, our training changes. If we are able to get the facility there at Raintree Park, it's going to be a basic fundamentals facility. No competition is required. Now, for those that show the discipline and the dedication that they want to compete, well, they're going to have to show me that. And then, we can take them to another facility where you have the boxing ring and you're able to spar and compete.
Take it up a notch.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know you mentioned your wife, and I have to ask, what's her role? I mean, obviously she encouraged you. She's like, get out of bed and let's go in the garage. But how I know she's so important to you. So now's your chance to give her a little shout out.
Well, okay. Well, she's known as Coach Kenya.
Coach Kenya.
So Coach Kenya is my assistant, my second hand. She pretty much does the admin for Hero. I just want to coach. That's all I want to do. So I let her focus on all that. But yeah, she's actually the one that gets into the ring with the kids at the competitions. And because of my back going in and out, it really bothers me physically. So she actually gets in the ring with the kids and calms them down, controls their breathing while I'm giving them instructions. And so she's very vital. She's, to our champions that we got, we wouldn't have champions without her.
Great. That's great. Okay. Is there anything else you want to share that we didn't already talk about Hero Inc?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I have 5 competition kids. Currently, I'm taking 2 next week to Compton to compete in the Southern California Junior Olympics.
Wow.
So, we're always looking for donations for that. Come this May, we'll be going to Las Vegas to compete in the Title Boxing Invitational, which is a 4-day tournament. And then in June, I have 2 kids who are already qualified to compete in the National Junior Olympics, which is Lena Torres and my grandson, Victor Villagomez.
Wow.
So, these trips are not cheap. I've been coming out of my pocket since we started this. Like I say, I'm not rich, I'm not famous, but I care. I care about these kids and I'm willing to come out of my own pocket, to see these kids succeed in life. You had mentioned about boxing. Do I just do this for them to become champions? Well, I want these kids of mine to become champions, not only in the ring, but to become champions out of the ring as well. That's very crucial to me. And that's when I had mentioned to you, education, in my video that we did at the gala is very crucial and important to me. I had a kid come to me that dropped out of school. And luckily, me and my wife were able to get him back into school through, our Hero, our nonprofit.
Amazing. Well, I'll definitely include a link to your website where you can accept donations. You accept them on your website?
Yeah.
Okay.
We accept them on our donations, Venmo, Zelle.
Take it all.
Yeah, take it all.
Write a check. Yeah. Okay. So I'll include that in the show notes. So if anyone's listening and would like to support your efforts, and they can learn more and potentially sign up for your program or get more information on your website. Okay. So at the end of every episode, I ask the same few questions to each of my guests. So I want to ask you tell me a book that you think everyone should read or a book that really inspired you.
Well, a book that really touched my heart. I was actually in Afghanistan. I had mentioned to you that my grandmother, had raised me. She was my mother, but she had passed away from cancer back in 2004. It still hurts me to this day, because she was the most special person to me. So the book that most touched me, that reflected on a lot about her, was The Shack. The Shack. William P. Young, The Shack.
I'll put it on my list.
Yeah, great book. So if anybody out there, you've lost that loved one, this book really touches your heart.
Great. A good one. Okay. All right. Tell me about a song what's your jam? What's your song that you just love?
And it's funny because I had seen a couple of your other, broadcasts with other individuals, and Matt had said something funny, that he was going to lose some street cred over a song. I listen to all kinds of music. I love Mexican music, reggae, of course, hip hop, rap. But there's this one song that I heard while I was in Iraq, and it was by an alternate rock group, The Bravery, and it's "Time Won't Let Me Go." It just touches my heart. Yeah, it hits my soul.
Yeah,
about we just can't go back. Time keeps moving forward. And as much as we want to go back, it won't let us go.
Yeah, isn't it amazing how a song in a certain song in a certain place Just it's like locked in your mind forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I heard this song in 2008 and it's just been with me ever since. You know, I still just want to listen to it, you know, whenever.
Yeah. All right. I'm not familiar with it, but I'm gonna look it up.
Go.
All right. And I'm gonna link to it in the show notes too. So, all right. Tell me something that inspires you.
My grandsons. I have 3 grandsons and a granddaughter. But my grandsons, you know, my boxing champion, and then I have 2 other younger ones. Without them, I wouldn't be here. They motivate me so much and inspire me to want to live. Yeah.
It's really cool. That's special.
Special.
Yeah. I'm sure your grandmother felt the same way about you. You know?
I hope she did.
Yeah, I'm sure she did. I'm sure she did. All right. So tell me a Vista business that deserves a shout out.
Wow. I have 2 spots.
Okay.
I have 2 go-tos.
Okay. Tell me.
Okay.
Tell me the 2.
A new one I just found. It's called Silverback Breakfast.
Oh, the best. Love them.
1717. What is it? East Vista Way?
East Vista Way.
Okay. There you go. Silverback Breakfast. Best spot that I just recently found. But my go-to besides that is Francisco's Mexican Deli off of North Santa Fe.
Oh, yeah. Okay. On Santa Fe.
Yeah. So, you know, they talk about hole in the walls that have the best food. Well, this is one of them. This is one of those hole in the walls that has the best food.
What do you get when you go there? What's your go-to?
The carne asada mulitas.
Oh, that sounds good.
They're bomb. It's
I'm hungry for lunch right now.
It's kind of like it's 2 corn tortillas, kind of like a quesadilla.
Right, but with corn tortillas and meat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
With the Mexican Oaxaca cheese.
Oh, I love mulitas.
Yeah,
so good.
So they're delicious.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you to our guest, Veteran of the Year, Rudy Moreno, and thank you for listening to Velocity. If you like what you heard, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and tell a friend. Let's move Vista forward with Velocity. The Vista Chamber of Commerce is a nonprofit organization that serves as a catalyst for business growth. Visit us online at vistachamber.org.